She'd be like, "Oh my gosh, what do I do?" So I guess the good thing that's coming out of it is that I'm able to see my skill in it, and I'm able to go.
Subaru driver. Jiminy Christmas. Sorry, that was exactly what I needed for my dash cam. Idiot Subaru driver just totally nonchalantly pulled out in front of me. All right, and we're back in the car again. Okay, let's see here. I was giving a recap this morning of questioning everything, and I was using my upbringing as a Mormon as an example. Which, quick aside, I love the Twitterverse. I'm all over the Twitterverse at MonkeyDrummer33 for all of those that would like to dialogue with me on there and see just all my craziness. There was a tweet because the church just had something called General Conference. And what's funny is President Nelson, the current president of the church, just turned 99 years old, and he looks way better than Biden at 81 or whatever ridiculous age he is. Can we please retire Grandpa, please? Holy Hannah. Rabbit holes. I rabbit hole a lot, just in case anybody's wondering. President Nelson just turned 99. Since he's taken over as the president of the church, he's had an emphasis on not calling members of the church Mormons. So not identifying as a Mormon, not calling the church the Mormon Church, but it is the full title, The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And if you are a member of the church, you are a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which is a mouthful and, in my opinion, ridiculous, especially because the past two presidents of the church, President Monson and President Hinckley, were very, I mean, on Twitter, this post that somebody put was a mashup of videos of, there was this huge I'm a Mormon campaign that was going on during the 2000s and 2010s. It was probably 2008 to 2014. I had to guess the year range right, somewhere in there. Right, but like celebrities were doing it, and there were commercials, and you were supposed to post on social media, and all the things. There's a whole campaign around it. I'm a Mormon. I'm a Mormon. I'm a Mormon. And two presidents of the church, and even before that, very regular and very accepted that you called yourself a Mormon. And all of a sudden, it's a hard, never mind. Don't refer to yourself as a Mormon. Really, really not good marketing. But I mean, you know, the true church, of course, would have that under control. Why was I bringing all that up? Something. See, rabbit hole, my brain, I go all over the place. So, my wife and I, Rachel, have raised our 4 children in the church. And I'm going to use this example a lot probably because I think it's a really good example. But when you're trying to figure out life, I think of it as a math equation. And how, you know, you might know what the purpose of life is. And so if you're a member of the church, if you're Mormon, then it is, you want to get sealed in the temple to your family for time and all eternity. There's a plan, the plan of happiness, this is the plan of salvation. And so that kind of sets in place what your equation is, right? Spiritual, physical, emotional, mental, all the different things. Some of those things get set in place because of religion. And what's beautiful is now that Rachel and I have left the church, all of a sudden that equation, the things that I thought were constants, the things that I thought I couldn't change about the equation, can change. What life equals is no longer the same, and all of those constants can be variables. So the variables were already variables, but now the constants are variables. So my whole life equation truly gets to be questioned, right? Question everything. And I had done those brain exercises before with my buddy Ben. But one of the questions that we would ask each other is, if you hadn't been born and raised in this particular religion, do you think that you would still prescribe to that religion? And my answer back in the day was always, well, I would hope that I would have found the church because I know the church is true. Well, I don't feel that way anymore. If you want to call it a gateway drug, it could be considered a gateway drug. Because I am a proponent of questioning everything, and I've thought that way for a while, and I did question a lot of things. We'll come back to politics here shortly. I always tried to fit things that I believed that were outside of the gospel as it's given in the church. I could justify having some beliefs outside of that. So an example would be, I very much believe that you don't get only one crack at this earth experience. I think there's some form of reincarnation. It makes no sense to me if there is an intelligent creator, a god, source, something. Well, let me back up on that a little bit. One of my core beliefs, one of my constants, one of my non-variables, is that I think our purpose here in this life is to learn and to grow and to progress. And you could argue that that is a very LDS influenced thought, because that is a part of the plan of happiness. But I think it goes beyond that. I think that, you're 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 years on this planet. You can only make so much progress, and you can only learn and do so much. And you can get into Akashic Records and all these other things. But I think we are accumulating knowledge over lifetimes on this planet and learning and growing. Now that I get to question all these things, instead of trying to fit things into my paradigm, right? Okay, so yeah, there is some form of reincarnation, and the church teaches that it's after this life, but I think it's really in this life. And the kind of caveat that the church throws out that I think keeps people in there and lets them have some of these outside of the box thoughts with the religion is, we believe that many more truths will be revealed. So doctrine can change, because it's not that God's changing. It's that we aren't developed enough, we aren't ready enough, we are not living righteously enough as a people to have all of God's truths revealed to us, because we need milk before meat. We need training wheels before we can take on the bike by ourselves. We need the learner's permit before we can go out on the road by ourselves. And so, right, that ends up covering a lot of that. Yeah, you know what? You might be right. We might actually, reincarnation might be real on this mortal sphere. But we don't know. So believe all the other stuff, and don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. But that might just be a truth that's not revealed. And so with that in my math equation, I can go, okay, cool. I believe this. I believe this. I believe this. It's not doctrine of the church, but maybe I've gotten ahead of them. Maybe God hasn't revealed that to us yet. I'm good. Well, there's only so much of that you can do before it's like, do I really believe in the religion that I'm saying that I believe in anymore? Can I have this conversation during Sunday school? No. So, okay, Subaru driver, get out of the left lane. So here we go. That jackrabbit has no business in the left lane. And Subaru drivers. Let's see how long he stays in that lane. Is he going to figure it out? There are cars behind you. And you can get over now because you have passed. Nope, you're just going to chill in the left lane. Fantastic. God bless the Subaru drivers. Okay, so questioning everything, that's the religious. So we've morphed a ton over the last year, Rachel and I together and individually. And there's been some, we did a lot of checking in. Definitely initially, and we probably checked in less formally lately. But we just end up having so many good conversations. Rachel and I call it philosophizing, where that's where we kind of realized how many different ideas we had and beliefs that we had that were outside of our religion that we grew up in. Another fantastic example is politics. Oh, and you guys, you're going to get all the politics. I apologize. Not really. So, grew up in a very conservative household. It was Fox News and Rush Limbaugh. Sean Hannity was on all the time, and what's the other guy? Wrote Killing Lincoln and Bill O'Reilly. Bill O'Reilly. Ha! I knew I'd find it. That was my maternal grandpa, my paternal grandpa, my dad, Okay, we're pausing again because good people need to move out of the fucking fast lane. And if you guys are noticing on the camera, I don't give 2 F's about riding people's asses. I'll leave a car length because if they happen to slam on the brakes, I think I have just enough reaction time. I'm like, I can't. I'll react. But if this fool that's 3 cars ahead of me doesn't get over, there is nobody in the right lane. He's passed. Okay, and I don't know why this massive truck is in the way. You fools. Oh, and now he goes. Oh, Lord. But is this truck going to move fast enough? I kind of doubt it. I'm just going to have to hang out, and then I'm going to have to get back over. Damn. Yep. Here you go, tell you, right? Okay. Now you can pass the truck, and then you can get over, and then I'll get around all the fools. Go tell you right. Go tell you right. Go tell you right. And this is why I say that Idaho drivers drive me freaking nuts. I'll tell you right. There it is. Congratulations. I'm so glad that you were able to pass. Okay. Back to politics. So, very, if it hasn't become quite obvious yet, very heavily influenced on the conservative side. And I remember 9/11, I was 14, about to be 15, and I remember the patriotism that came out of that, and and talk about galvanizing, and I remember the people that were seniors and that had just graduated, that we were friends with, that I went to church with, that I went to school with. They all signed up to go to the Army because we were going to go kick the Middle East's ass for what they'd done to America. And just the bill of goods that we were fucking sold. And then there was a kid named Josh that lived with my family, and as soon as he graduated, he went off. His truck was hit by an IED, and I want to say that he was the lone survivor, or maybe a couple guys survived, but definitely a couple guys died. And just like how that kind of red-pilled me initially into what the f*** are we doing in the Middle East? What the f*** are we doing in Ukraine today? I have so gone off the reservation from being a conservative standpoint. Like, the Republican Party is a shit show. The Democrats are a shit show. The two-party system is a shit show. Anybody that still thinks that any of that is a good idea is a boomer that probably needs to die off. Thank you guys for ruining everything for us, by the way. Not that I'm a somewhat bitter millennial for you guys totally ruining our country or anything. So I am definitely no longer a conservative or a Republican, and by no means have I flipped parties and am I a Democrat or a progressive, because those fools are ridiculous. I am pro-freedom. The more freedom that we can have, the better. But just, again, so as I'm giving these examples of questioning everything. I think people end up having a lot of red pill experiences throughout their life on different subjects like that. Another really good example is diet. When I grew up, oh my gosh, do you know how many DiGiorno pizzas I've probably eaten in my life? The amount of McDonald's and Burger King and all the fast food I've eaten in my life? My grandpa, he owned the Dairy Queen in Milwaukee, Oregon from, I don't know, 70, 80, something, probably the 70s, until he sold it in 97. I grew up in the back of a Dairy Queen. You want to talk about eating? I was a fat kid. Fat kid. Oh man, I made all the Blizzard mixes I wanted. I've eaten some delicious fast food, lots of it. That shit is so bad for you. And that was just normal. It was normal to eat junk food. It was normal to eat all the processed crap. Like, my dad would go to the grocery store, and my dad shopped by color. I'm pretty sure he bought Fruit Loops and Lucky Charms and what the hell are those called? The chocolate cakes with the vanilla frosting inside. Ding dongs. There's definitely the ding dongs. Those are good. But then there's the other ones that have like the little swirl on top too. The icing swirl. That's like the cousin of the ding dong. Oh my gosh. Ice cream up the ying. Like, we ate terrible. Just terrible. And I was fat. And I was unhealthy. And if you look back at pictures, like, not good. My freshman year of high school, the amount of Mountain Dew that I drank, are you kidding me? I'm surprised I'm not still peeing radioactive yellow from all the Mountain Dew I drank in my teen years. And I'm 36. Holy Hannah. I was drinking at least like a 6-pack a day. My freshman year of high school, my highest weight, I was 230 pounds. And 5'10", 5'11", I peaked at 6'3", and probably $160, I think, is probably about my lowest weight post being fat. And that's the thing. Between my freshman and my sophomore year of high school, I went from 230 down to 170, and it was by cutting out soda, and it was by exercising, and then I'm sure I had a growth spurt in there that probably helped me out. But that summer, I lost 70 pounds. Looked like a completely different kid. And then since then, it still took me a good 15 years. It probably wasn't until my late 20s that I truly figured out how to eat, because sugar addict. Sugar is more addicting than cocaine. More addictive than cocaine. And I love sugar in all of its various forms. I love sugar. But again, red pill moment, questioning everything. Look at how look at the government, look at the CDC and the, not the FDIC, because that's the other world that I live in on the financial side. The FDA. Look at the FDA. Look at the food pyramid. We were sold the food pyramid. We were sold the DARE campaign and the war on drugs. We were sold the war in the Middle East. We were sold the war in Vietnam. We were sold the war in, our government is our enemy. They want to keep the populace dumbed down and servile. Servile? Is that a word? Being subjects, being NPCs, not questioning everything. But yeah, food. So realizing and it took years of, okay, so I'll eat fruits and veggies. Okay, I'll eliminate some of these I won't go to fast food anymore. Oh, cooking with all of this gross canola oil and vegetable oil isn't good for me. I should be using butter, and I should be using olive oil, and I should be using ghee and coconut oil, because the other oils are bad for me and cause inflammation. Well, that's certainly not what anybody in the government, in any of these agencies that are supposed to promote, should be trying to promote the best for their citizenry. That is the farthest thing from what they're doing. And again, I'll point it out, 70% overweight in this country and 40% obese. They are not doing anybody any favors. And then look at our healthcare system. What the hell is going on with our healthcare system? Everything that the government has declared a war on or had some kind of initiative to fix has only gotten worse. Look at the homelessness. I just came over from Western Washington. Tacoma and Seattle are a nightmare. Absolute night. Tweakers, like it is disgusting. I work in Spokane. You guys probably saw some homeless on my dash cam. I live in Coeur d'Alene. You know what I do in Coeur d'Alene? I leave all my shit unlocked. I go to the gym in the morning. I leave my AirPod case and my keys in my front console and leave the door unlocked and couldn't care less. You know why? Because one, in Idaho, somebody's going to shoot you. If you try and steal from them, you try and do something stupid, you're going to get shot, as you should. And they enforce laws. I have not seen a homeless person in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Spokane, 40 minutes away, totally different world. I go to drop off my dry cleaning. My dry cleaner has had to put up a fence around their building because the homeless litter the streets around them. If I was going to start a business, where am I going? Probably going to start it in Idaho. And guess what? The taxes are probably a little bit better there too. Probably a little bit more business friendly. Oh my gosh. Okay. Rants. See, you guys get me going, and it is ugly. But welcome to my channel. If you haven't already, like this video, subscribe to my channel. Although I think the kids nowadays are saying just sub. So, oh, come on. Subaru, let's go. Go. Thanks, lady. 35. Yep, I know you're going up the hill. Gotta push the gas. Oh, so yeah, I have a ton of stories. I'm gonna make fun of drivers as I'm telling stories. So I don't know if I'm gonna bleep out my videos or if I'm just gonna let it ride, but I do tend to have that sailor side of me come out when I'm navigating my vehicle. Hopefully you're going to catch some of my kids and my wife in the car with me and some of my conversations there. You'll also get some of my phone calls. And so in a lot of ways it'll be kind of like a pseudo podcast interview, sorta. It's gonna be fun. You're gonna enjoy. As long as you enjoy irreverence and me speaking my mind and telling it like it is. Something that I very firmly believe is that you cannot help somebody that doesn't want to help themselves. You cannot do that work for them. I've cut people out of my life. I've brought them back into my life. I've tried to help them. I've gone to rehab places with them. I've done counseling with them. I've done all the things. But until somebody wants to change, which unfortunately means a lot of the time they have to reach rock bottom. But until they reach that point, they know they cannot sustain their lifestyle and they have to change and they want better for themselves. All you're doing is enabling. Point blank. So stop doing it. You want to know why the homeless problem keeps getting worse in areas where more and more money gets funneled into helping the homeless problem? Because you cannot help them until they want to help themselves. There are so many programs. Do you know on the LDS side of things, going back to the church, if you have trouble paying your bills, if you have trouble putting food on the table, you go to your local bishop of your local congregation, and there's the bishop's storehouse that you can go and get food. I've had to do it several times in my life. Absolutely one of the best services around. Help paying bills, there's a way to do that too. And that's just the LDS church. How many different churches are there around? How many different nonprofits are there around to help with these things? The government should absolutely 100% not be involved, because they only make the problem worse and they don't know how to fix a single problem, which is why I am for, going back to the political side of things, I am for the absolute smallest form of government that we can possibly have. Department of Education, bye. The IRS, bye-bye. The Department of Defense even, slash that budget by 80%. Oh, what about Russia? What about North Korea? Shut up. Shut up. Do you know how much money we've spent on national defense compared to everybody else for the last decades upon decades upon decades? It would boggle your mind. Do you know how many hundreds of billions of dollars? I think it's hundreds of billions. I'm pretty sure it's hundreds of billions. Somebody fact check me on that. Somebody put it in the comments. How much money we've sent Ukraine, one of the most corrupt governments on the planet, always rated as one of the most financially, and not just even financially, but one of the most corrupt governments on the planet, and we just send them money because, oh, they're fighting Russia. It's a pseudo war. And Russia should be freaking out that NATO's pushing up against their border. If somebody was doing something in Mexico to us or in Canada, we'd be doing the same bloody thing.